I'm British, and that is a challenge I'm going to have to deal with. For a while now in these islands, we have been a lapdog to the great nation of the United States, backing you up in various wars, and in some cases being a testing ground and a pilot station for many globalist schemes and endeavours that are thrust our way. Once in a while, a story breaks in the UK that gives us the opportunity to show you how globalism and, for example, Big Pharma truly operate. You had the opioid crisis in your country, where you learned with absolute certainty that the pharmaceutical industry pays money to doctors, hides facts, uses clinical trial data that is unreliable, and commits the not insignificant transgression of allowing its customers to be killed stone dead by its product. That's what the opioid crisis was. They knew that the product was killing people, and they carried on anyway because of the money. During the pandemic period, everyone went sort of crazy for a while when pharmaceutical companies, they're great. I'm going to get Pfizer tattooed on my face. You know that Pfizer and Moderna have been granted immunity from prosecution for any flaws, problems, adverse events, or even deaths from their products. That is because these guys are intrepid entrepreneurs. They are taking risks developing these products. Don't pay any attention to whether or not some of these vaccines were patented years ago. Don't pay any attention to whether or not they came out of dual-purpose research. Don't pay any attention as to whether the NIH funded the EcoHealth Alliance that were carrying on experiments with coronaviruses in the Wuhan Institute of Virology, from whence the thing is said to have even come, even though Anthony Fauci spent considerable effort on suppressing that story and supporting what we now know was a pretty bogus wet market origin narrative. If you don't know by now that the pharmaceutical industry, in cahoots with national governments and globalist bureaucratic entities, are driving ill health in a variety of ways, then you ain't been paying attention. But hey, even the legacy media knows now. The legacy media knows now that the pharmaceutical industry is extremely dangerous. How do we know? Well, there's this thing where they've been selling AIDS-infected blood and allowing it to be used in transfusions to thousands of people. Doesn't seem like a very nice thing to do, does it? If you're describing a nice person, I don't know, Mother Teresa, you pick your heroes, man. And then, like you said, they've been selling AIDS-infected blood to people. You go, well, you know what? I'm going to have to, if this is verified, I'm going to have to revise my entire perspective on them. Here is the British Prime Minister, early investor in Moderna. It's a simple fact. WEF stooge, married to a billionaire's daughter who funded Infosys, which is a WEF sponsor, granted contracts to Infosys over his tenure as Prime Minister. You know, he's Prime Minister at the moment. Of course, someone else is going to get elected soon. And what the current narrative is this is a disgrace. This is a disgrace on this government, without acknowledging that this scandal's been going on for 30 years. So our country, like yours, you've got two bunches of C words you can choose from every 4 years. And so in the last 30 years, you've had both of them. And guess what? Both of them did the same thing, because that's the way it rolls within those institutions. Let's have a look at Rishi Sunak offering an apology that simply cannot be contrite enough, can it, given that innocent children have died of AIDS as a result of this corruption.
This is a day of shame for the British state. Today's report shows a decades-long moral failure at the heart of our national life. From the National Health Service to the civil service, to ministers in successive governments, at every level, the people and institutions in which we place our trust failed in the most harrowing and devastating way. They failed the victims and their families, and they failed this country. Mr. Speaker, more than 3,000 people died without that truth. They died without an apology.
They have to just get a speech together. It's like, oh no, this is bad, this one. This don't look good. I mean, this is bad, this is worse than the fact that I was part of a hedge fund that invested in Moderna just before I was Chancellor in charge of the Treasury. This is a bad one. What am I going to say? Because also this looks bad on the pharmaceutical industry, doesn't it? This is worse than Pfizer settling 10,000 claims out of court to the tune of millions because it's believed that one of their anti-heartburn medications causes cancer, although that's not been proven because these things have been settled out of court. This is worse than the opioid crisis. This does not look good in the pandemic period when it's clear that pharmaceutical companies have been given incredible power. That this does not look good when there was a massive wealth transfer in the last 3 years and all sorts of regulatory advantage was taken at a global level, with the WHO treaty still potentially on the table that would allow your democracy to be overridden by the edicts of the WHO, whether that comes to imposing lockdowns, imposing medications, and the ability to censor. And remember, censorship's on the rise everywhere. How are we going to make this speech look like this is just a one-off, a couple of bad apples, a couple of bad AIDS-infected apples, and as long as we deal with that, this guy is not going to win the next election. The other person will win the next election, but I've got news for you folks. It's another globalist. You can have one of these globalists. Yesterday when we did the story about the Iranian president dying in a helicopter crash, and you see that there is sort of outpouring of grief. I don't know if that's staged. I'm sure Iran has their own version of propaganda. But the idea that any of these stooges would be mourned is ludicrous. And why? Because we know what they are. They are demonic shepherds herding the flock to their own demise. They are the harbingers of new doom. They are auguring only corruption. You know it. I know it. And the only thing that's more bleak and grim than looking at the face of dear Rishi Sunak there is the certain knowledge that you got no options when it comes to who to vote for in the next election cycle in your country or in my country. Man, I pray for some return to justice. I pray for some awakening. Surely I do, because once you got a story where it's like children are dying of AIDS because of corruption, no, man, seems to me that ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, maybe a little bit, ready for the change yet? Are you ready? Let's give it another couple more years. Maybe we can. This gives the other team a chance. They seem like a bunch of thoroughly good guys. We can't continue to bring you this beautiful content without the support of our partners. The Wellness Company are some of my favourite partners. Will your doctor even prescribe you ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine? Hey, I did it. The Wellness Company's prescription Contagion emergency kit is unique, providing carefully selected effective medications for COVID-19 and respiratory illnesses. Ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, which some people call HCQ, don't know why, Z-Pak, and butanide, along with a nebulizer and guidebook for safe use. Do not muck around with a nebulizer. This is, of course, backed by research and endorsed by experts, specifically Dr. Peter McCulloch and Dr. Harvey Rich, both friends of the show. Avoid the chaos, wait times, and price of the hospital. Get the entire kit for the cost of a single doctor's visit. This is only available in the USA. Every American home should have one of these, don't you think? Visit twc.health/brand and use our code BRAND to save $30 plus get free shipping on your Contagion kit. Okay, back to the content. Let's have a look at this story and bear in mind, of course, what you already know about the pharmaceutical industry, the amount of money they spend on advertising, the amount of money they spend on censorship. You know that Moderna, for example, spent a lot of money censoring my content, Megan Fox, anybody that criticizes them. You know that during the pandemic period, you were not allowed to criticize the vaccine. Remember that you were shamed during the pandemic period if you said, oh, I'm not sure about taking this, and then they had to go, oh no, we're pretending that we represent people that are from vulnerable minority communities, and yet people from vulnerable minority communities don't trust the government because of how the government's treated vulnerable minority communities until they started pretending to care to score political points and create cultural divisions. So those people ain't been bought on side yet. Oh no, what are we going to do? This is going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky, but we'll manage it through endless propaganda, through censorship, through a wealth transfer, by creating technologies and cultures that mean that the once what was known as the working class, whether that was a sort of a serf class under the old peasant conditions, or the working class in industrialism, or the outsourcing of labour in sort of more recent years to ultimately, oh no, we don't need poor people anymore. Can we start just doing experiments on them, killing them and stuff? Let's have a look how Big Pharma justify this madness. They knowingly sold a treatment infected with HIV to the NHS. I think it's knowingly is the word I'm struggling with here. Internal documents from American pharmaceutical companies show they knew a wonder drug made from human plasma could transmit HIV to patients, but they sold it regardless. We've got a new wonder drug. Tell me all about it. It's brilliant and it's wonderful in a number of ways. One caveat, though, it does transmit HIV to patients. Well, why don't we sell that regardless? I don't see that as any serious problem. I think once you convey HIV, it's not a wonder drug. Some 1,250 people in the UK contracted HIV in the 70s and 80s from factor VIII, a treatment for the bleeding disorder haemophilia. Up to 5,000 contracted Hep C. In December 82, Bayer's Qatar laboratories discovered chimpanzees that developed AIDS-like symptoms after being treated with factor VIII, according to an internal memo. However, the company didn't warn patients about the potential risks. Why not, one wonders? As the dangers became clear, they kept selling it. Having created a safer, heat-treated version without viruses in February 84, Bayer continued to sell the HIV and Hep C contaminated until August. They had a better one. But they continued to sell the You know, we had that problem where we were selling that HIV-infected blood. Yes, I felt bad about that. It almost prevented me from promoting these opioids that we knew were addictive and were killing people, but I focused and I got through it. It almost prevented me from ensuring that we were granted legal immunity before striking these deals with governments across the world before the pandemic, but I focused. Anyway, what were you going to tell me? Oh, well, we don't need to give people Hep C and HIV anymore because we've improved this. We got this safer heat-treated version. Oh, well, you know, there's no point rushing that. Wait till August. It'll line up nicely with September. New term, new life, less AIDS. We'll think of a slogan for it. The UK kept prescribing the dangerous version till 85 and never recalled it from hospitals. Qatar rejected the idea of recalling its infected factor VIII from Asian countries in 84 because it could cost up to $2 million worth of sales. And it's a matter of priorities, you know. Some of you out there might be thinking, well, I don't know, children dying of AIDS, that's not good. But let me read again. $2 million of profits. But a child, a human life, the sacred child. Like, think of when you were a child. Think about your own children. Think about the innocence and joy that children are giving you throughout your life. No, don't think about that. Never ever think about that. Never question it. Never question anything. Do what you are told. Don't question who can debate and who can't debate and the conditions of a debate and who can stand for government and who can't. Don't question any of it. Don't start asking questions now, like, hold on a minute, in any sane world, wouldn't the value of a human life be worth more than money? What measure of currency could ever outweigh the joy of a child's life? These are all silly questions. These are all questions that you'll have to park along with. Aren't all human lives inherently sacred? And how do you know that? And how do you undergird that? And oughtn't you have political systems, and indeed geopolitical ones, that honour and represent those values? Don't start thinking about that. I've told you before, you can have this group of arseholes or this group of arseholes, then sit down and eat your dinner that's probably giving you diabetes and cancer. And if that causes questions, don't ask them. We've had enough out of you. We've had enough. It doesn't matter if you've got questions because we're censoring any good ones anyway. What we will have is a feedback loop of compliant banalities endlessly amplifying the agenda of the establishment. And if you happen to have any questions, you can just shout them into one another's anuses because we simply don't care. A year later, the company's marketing plan said AIDS has not become a major issue in Asia. The company outlined how long it would dump the infected products in countries including Taiwan. Now, Taiwan, is it right, the semiconductors and stuff? Yeah, don't worry about that. Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, Argentina. It added the hysteria. It added the hysteria over AIDS could reduce our sales by as much as $400,000. This hysteria over AIDS, which we also whipped up when it was convenient to use that to create fear and make other populations compliant. We had a different narrative then. This hysteria could reduce sales by $400,000. Well, can we wait till August? It's nice weather. It will help temper the hysteria. In another case, Revlon Healthcare, owned by Pharmaceutical, suppressed evidence from 85 to 86 that HIV had been discovered in its safe version of factor VIII, which had been heat-treated to kill viruses. What? The safe version had it in? I've got some news about the safe version. What is it now? I'm focusing. Do you realize that we've had to settle out of court 10,000 cases because it turns out that our indigestion medicine causes cancer? You have any idea the pressure on, allegedly, these are settled out of court. Have you any idea the pressure on that? I would take some heartburn medication, but the fucking stuff causes cancer. It's safe version. Our safe version, I'm sorry to tell you, our safe version does also cause HIV. Well, can we really call it safe version? till March we can, because then we got an even better version coming that causes a bit less AIDS. Like now someone will be saying, actually, HIV and AIDS are different things. Yeah, and selling blood with AIDS in it is a different thing from living a decent human life. Let's focus the attention now, guys. Rather than withdrawing the faulty product from sale, the company deemed the problem... They deemed the problem a marketing issue and covered it up. Sir, we got a marketing issue. What is it? When we're trying to market AIDS-infected blood, people don't want it. That is a problem. What if we just don't tell anyone? I would say that any industry that promotes these kind of ideas, that has these kind of crimes in their hands, ought be heavily regulated independently by an assembly of ordinary civilians, and that there should be funding for clinical trials on medicines that is not undergirded by pharmaceutical companies that are set to profit. That the regulatory bodies that regulate pharmaceutical companies shouldn't accept funding from pharmaceutical companies, and politicians oughtn't be allowed to invest in pharmaceutical companies, and pharmaceutical companies oughtn't be able to spend money lobbying politicians or donate into political parties. But that sounds so complicated, doesn't it? I mean, I could barely say it out loud without falling into the complexity of language that had to be conjured. But hey guys, that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments and the chat. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.